Hello people, it is Tokes here from Watered Seed. Welcome to Watered Seed Talks. As a woman, I've always been a part of this, but the question remains, why do women compete with other women? This is an unhealthy kind of competition that I'm talking about. With a generation of young girls behind us, how do we teach and lead them that they can actually have healthy competition towards other girls? Join us as we discuss the why and the how to stop this type of competition. Let's dive in. So firstly, before I dig into today's conversation, I wanted to mention to all the parents out there that the date for our next seminar is in. It is Friday the 31st of July and we will run it between 6:30 and 7:30. This is a free seminar, so I don't need you to pay for it. All I require you to do is I need you to register your daughters for the seminar in good time. Now I'm going to include a link below, so you can click on that link and then register your daughter. I'm also going to include this link on our website, so you can choose any of the two sources to register your daughter. You should get an immediate response to say that your registration has been approved. If you have any issue registering, then please send me an email at info@wateredseed.org. Now the topic we'll be discussing with the girls is exactly what I'm talking about now, which is competition with other girls and friendship. And what we'll be doing is we'll be discussing that in thorough form, in its length, with questions and answers and scenarios and games as well for the girls. So if you'd like your daughter to attend, don't forget to register. Now, back to today's conversation on why do women compete. Now, to avoid me repeating the word healthy and unhealthy, everything that I'm going to talk about in this video would be competition in the unhealthy form, unless I was to reiterate that, oh yeah, I'm talking about the healthy kind of competition, if that makes sense. So competition, why do women compete? Now, my understanding is that healthy competition is good for us because it helps us to work hard. It helps us to drive at our motive and, to get to where we need to get to. But there is also the unhealthy type of competition. And for women, I feel like it's been there since the beginning of time. And that's just how it is. But with a generation of young girls behind us, should we be telling them that it's okay to be competitive, unhealthy competition? Should we be telling them it's okay to compete? Or should we be correcting why we compete in the first place? I believe that before I find solution or think of a solution to anything that pertains to me, I always think about the whys. And this is why this video will be broken or split into two parts, which is the whys and then the hows, which is how do we stop this kind of competition. So first, why do we compete with each other? Now, I've got a couple of things that I want to discuss in regards to what that is, but just competition as a whole. There's a feeling that comes when we see another woman who is actually successful and who's actually, doing the right thing, and they're right there up there in that light. How do you feel? What do you feel like? Do you feel like, why is it not you up there? Do you feel like you're not working hard enough to be up there? Do you self-reflect and ask yourself a lot of questions as to why that isn't you? I think most of us feel this way, and it's okay for us to self-reflect, but we cannot mope around thinking that that is what will motivate us, because that is not the right kind of motivation. So the number one reason why women compete with each other is we have a belief that there isn't enough to go around, and therefore we need to fight for our bit in society. We have a mindset that life is more of a plot of grass rather than pastures green. We don't think that there's surplus, and therefore we're always acting on the limitation. We think that someone else is going to come and take our spot if we don't act now. So we go out in full force. We compete rigorously with other women because we think that they will take our light. And that isn't really the case, because there is more than enough to go around. Number two, in regards to why women compete, we think that to be successful, we need to be domineering. We think that we have to have a powerful influence over other women, and so we try to be competitive. Again, this is something that we tell ourselves that isn't true. This could be based on our environment, what we see, and then somehow we emulate it. Number 3 is that competing for us is also a learned mechanism. Over the years, we've grown up seeing other women do it, thrive at it in some cases, and we think that that is the way to go on. We're living in a generation where the best way to dictate or tell other people of our self-worth is that we need to be at a certain ranking in the community. And so we pick up this learned mechanism as a way to thrive in our society. Now, number 4 is the fact that is the truth about relativity. That we're at a time and space where we feel like everything is comparable. Yes, there's some things that we can compare if they are like for like, but in most instances, especially when it comes to our lives, we cannot compare. They're not the same. If we wanted to compare me to someone else, you would have to think about a lot of things, our foundation, our background. It's almost like running a race. Did we start at the right place? Did we start at the same place every step of the way? What you find is that with most people, that's not the case. We never all start at the same pace. We never all start at the same foundation. So to compete and to compare ourselves based on that relative is unfair to ourselves and to those people as well. Now, the other thing that we need to understand in regards to competing is that we believe that competition also is another way of being accepted by other people. So usually people who have not accepted themselves find a way to use competition as an acceptance streak. They try to be sought after. Sometimes it's because they want to belong to a particular sect of people or sector or group of people. So they compete rigorously to be noticed by that group and then to be part of that group. Now, you might think that some of these steps or some of these reasons why we compete are quite fickle, but I really want you to take time. Just, again, like I always say, just stop for a minute. Think about what I'm saying and see if it impacts you anyway, or if you can reflect as to this is a reason at some point in your life why you've competed. Because what we must understand is that the moment a woman is aware of another woman's success or beauty or talent, what we do is that we fall into 3 or 4 categories in regards to how we relate to that woman. Now, the number 1 thing is that we can choose to emulate that woman, which means we can choose to copy that woman. The number 2 is that we can choose to be envious towards that woman. The third is that we can choose to admire that woman. And number 4, we can choose to ignore that woman. Now, from all of the 4 groups that I've listed, the only healthy one is to admire, because we understand to admire someone means that we understand their journey. We appreciate their journey. We understand what it takes to be successful. And therefore, we're not in a category of competing with that woman, but yet admiring, supporting, and gearing that woman, to the right light as a woman. Now, the other 3 obviously are unhealthy, and they're not places that we want to be. They're not places that we want our young girls to be. So we have to bring to the consciousness of our girls in regards to those 3 categories. The moment we are competing or we are reacting to another girl or another woman based on the fact that we're envious of them, or we're emulating and we're copying them, because we know that when we copy anything, we cannot sustain it. We have to be the best versions of ourselves, not of other people. So even when we emulate or copy successful women, it's not long lasting because it's not us. And also when we're ignoring other people's, ignoring other girls because of their achievement. So what we need to say again, because when we ignore people, it means that we're diminishing their light in a way, because we're not supportive of other women who've paved the way for us. Because when we ignore, it means that we don't talk about them. And sometimes when we talk about them, this really, ignites us ourselves. So what we want to do is we want to help our young girls to understand these factors, to understand the whys, before we then discuss the how to stop this kind of unhealthy competition in our next video. So I've now come to the end of this video, but don't fret. I'm going to record the next video straight away so you can watch it as well. I hope that you've learned and you resonate with my understanding in regards to why women compete. Leave us comments and don't forget to subscribe. We will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.